Hey all, it's Linda. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with straight hair and broken dreams. Except my dreams aren't broken, but my hair is straight. Cheers. Also, look how cute this mug is that my mom got me. Yes, I really do need all these plants. It's an addiction. Thanks. Today is the next video in my declutter series of 2023, and this is going to be like a fairly big one, namely because the number of products I have to go through is probably like one of my largest in my collection. Today, it's eyeshadow palette day. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and I think I feel pretty confident in saying eyeshadow palettes are the thing I have the hardest time getting rid of, because if I can find like one color I love in a palette, I don't want to get rid of it. Or if the color story is beautiful to me, even if I don't wear it really often, I have a hard time getting rid of it. If a brand has been generous enough to send something to me, I have a hard time getting rid of it because I'm just so thankful for anything that I get, and I'm happy with anything that I buy. So it is difficult for me to let go of some, but I do want to at least let go of a few. But these videos have kind of also served as a here's my collection type video where you can just see everything in my collection. So you'll see all of my eyeshadow palettes. I can't promise I'm swatching everything. I'm definitely not swatching everything today. If there's something that strikes my fancy, as it sometimes does, maybe I'll swatch then. But I'm gonna get rid of what I can. Now, a few things that I've been saying in all these declutter videos. Number one, no one's forcing me to get rid of anything. If I happen to look at a palette and I'm like, oh, I love it, but do I get rid of it? But I wanna keep it, but I'm gonna get rid of it, but I'm gonna keep it. And people are always like, girl, keep whatever you want. No one's forcing me to get rid of things. I just want to be able to really see my collection and appreciate my collection. And sometimes for me personally, there are people who have collections 5 times my size. For me personally, if I can't see an item in my collection each time, like I open my eyeshadow palette drawers, I think I have 4 drawers full of eyeshadow palettes right now. If I can't see something, if something gets hidden and lost, what's the point of keeping it if I didn't notice it was gone for that long? You know what I mean? So I do hope to get rid of at least a few. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'll get rid of 50, maybe I'll get rid of 0, but that's the journey we're gonna go on today. Number 2, all of my used makeup does go to friends and family. I don't feel comfortable giving used makeup away to strangers on the internet, so I do hope you're happy with that. And I will say that my niece, who is recently getting into makeup and skincare and all that thanks to TikTok, came over on Thanksgiving and just straight up pillaged my collection, and it was amazing. And number 3, with this declutter series, I asked originally on a couple of my pages, do you guys prefer to see individual declutters, like for example, eyeshadows and lipsticks and blushes, or do you like one really long, juicy video that you can just put on in the background as you clean, or something to just keep you company for a few hours? And the answers were divided like 50-50. So I am doing these individual videos. I have already done highlighter and blush and face products, and this is the next one, but at the very end, there's also going to be one really long video. So if you prefer that way, you can wait until that one, or you can watch them all. I'm not going to complain because you're supporting my channel the more that you watch. So we're going to jump right into this. I'm really excited for myself to take a look at my collection because, again, sometimes I forget about things. And sometimes I'm able to look at things in the light of decluttering and going, you know what? I love this. I love this item, but it deserves to go to a better home where somebody's gonna really, really love the hell out of it. So let's jump right in. All right, let's get started. I think I'm going to take this by brand. Also, you'll have to forgive me. I'm sorry about any shadows that you see here. I keep trying to adjust the light, but there is a bit of shadowing because the sun is a little insane today. But I'm going to start with what you guys probably all know is the biggest part of my collection. Is probably going to have to be broken up into 2 groups. We're going to start with Melt Cosmetics. And yes, I keep all the packages for everything. Oh my gosh, it is so hard to get these damn lids to stay open. But let's start with a few elephants in the room. Yes, I have not 1, but 2 of this first palette. So I'm going to show you the good one, the better one up close. This is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. And as of the time I am filming this, this is my favorite palette of all time. Okay, this is my favorite color story of all time. I love, 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 love the grungy tones in here. I love the formula. I love everything about this palette. This palette can do no wrong in my eyes. So this is the reformulated palette, okay? This is the one that has this kind of cover. This is my original Gemini palette. So this color did fall out, I will say, but this color, look how much I've used. Look how much of a dent there is in everything because I have used the hell out of this palette to the moon and back. And I bought this one as like kind of as a backup, but also to see what the difference was between the two formulas. I don't regret it for a second, okay? I will be using both. It's not like I'm keeping this one pristine. You can already tell there's swatches taken out of it. They are both staying. This is my #1 favorite palette as of time of filming. I love it. They're staying. Gemini 2 is one that I will admit, oh my God. Oh, you guys, I have never seen mold on an eyeshadow before, ever in my life, and that is mold. Oh my God, I'm like disgusted at myself. That is so gross. So, damn, I really love that color. So, do I take that color out and keep the rest of the palette? Like, honestly, the rest of the colors look completely fine. I'm probably going to take that out. Does it show you how long it's been since I've used this palette, though? I still want to keep this, though. I want to keep this palette. So, I'm just going to chop out that color. Ew, can I get real close to gross you guys out? Have you ever seen anything like that? I feel like I should be more embarrassed than I am, but like I'm not. That's just gross. Wow. Have you guys had this happen with any palettes before, specifically any melt palettes? That's kind of gross, but yeah, I mean, but I'm still keeping it. Okay. Anyway, here's another elephant in the room. Okay, I have talked at length about this Vita palette. I love this palette. I love this color story. It makes me extraordinarily happy. It is very bright. It is cheerful. It is celebratory to me. Like literally, this looks like a party, right? This looks like a freaking party, and the quality is all amazing. There's only 2 shimmers in the whole palette, and the rest are matte, which I love Melt's matte formula, so I don't mind. This is not my favorite formula in this palette, as far as the sparkles go, but everything else is so beautiful. What's interesting is that this came out as kind of a set. Well, I mean, you bought them separately. So we had Vita and Muerte. And a lot of you might know that I eventually decluttered my Muerte palette. And the reason I decluttered it was because I wasn't using it as much as I wanted to. But the #1 reason I sold it, I needed money at the time. I needed some money, and the hype was very real and very vivid for this palette. So I did sell mine, when it was kind of at its height of frenzy, and this was everyone's like, holy grail. But recently, Melt had a Black Friday sale, and the Muerte palette went back on sale for $25. And I've been very vocal about how I wanted this palette in my life again, but I just kept passing on it. And I'm so glad I was there to snag it this time because this palette is so beautiful and I am so happy to have it in my life again. Oh my God, I haven't even touched it yet. I just look at that. I'm so happy this is in my life again. And I'm not going to lie, the collector in me is so happy to have it back with its fam. So guess what? These are all staying. Okay, these aren't all staying up, but we're going to go through these. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. I believe I'm keeping all of these. There's only one in this whole realm that I'm even remotely considering getting rid of. But let's start with some obvious. The Melt Mary Jane. I've talked about this before. This palette really surprised me because I am not a cool tone lover, but the cool tones in this really spoke to me and the quality is so good. The shimmers really stand out for me in this palette. And I feel like people give Melt a lot of crap for their shimmer formula, and this is where I feel like it really shines. So this is one that I'm absolutely keeping my collection. I've also spoken a lot about smoke sessions. This is definitely staying. Like, this one keeps blowing me away. Every time I use it, I'm reminded about how it might be one of the best Melt formula palettes that exists. And I feel like people sleep on this one because maybe it's because it's not one of their 10-pan palettes, it's only an 8-pan, but the quality of every shade is so good. It is so on point, and I absolutely love it. This is absolutely staying. The Rust palette, oh God, Be Still My Heart. Here's another one that I feel like doesn't get enough love because of course it is browns, but like while these are neutral colors, I don't consider this to be a neutral palette because the browns are very heavily like deep leaning and that's mustard yellow. So I don't know if that's necessarily completely neutral. Of course, it's more neutral leaning than like this with like blues and pinks and things, but at the same time, I just feel like this is elevated, smoky, sexy neutral. This absolutely staying. This is the palette I've been questioning. This is the Electrip palette. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna wind up keeping this because Melt is kind of the only brand that I really collect. And I love this color story, but it's not my favorite palette that they have. It is probably, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be doing another ranking soon. It's definitely not my favorite melt palette in the world, but like the colors that are good are so good. It's just, even as I'm staring at it, Strawberry Fields is such a perfectly beautiful red. Magic Mush is like, I mean, the sparkly lime green in my dreams. Pseudo is okay. You know what? Am I falling in love with it all over again? It's beautiful and it's staying is basically the line that I'm looking for. Okay. This is the most, divisive melt palette of all time. I'm going to say it. The 420 palette. This color story speaks to my grungy teenage soul like very few palettes do. And I know that a lot of people have trouble with the quality of this palette in particular. I do agree that this palette takes more patience. I don't think that it's impossible to work with by any means, but it does take more patience than, say, Smoke Sessions, which is very easy to work with. But if you can be patient with it, if you are in a place where you can spend time doing your makeup and you're not in like a 5-minute rush, the looks you can get with this palette are so freaking cool and grungy and deep and dark and deliciously dirty. They're all staying. All right, okay, here are my remaining 4 melt palettes. My newest one, this is the Halloween Town palette that came out with the Nightmare Before Christmas collection. I did not get the Christmas Town palette. Maybe someday I will if it goes on sale, but that one was not as much of a necessity to me after I purchased this one. They did release this and didn't give any hint that there would be a second release, and it was a very big surprise to everyone. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, I have to admit, but I love this color story. I thought that I would just be in love with these and maybe like this. I love the whole thing. It performs so, so well. Again, like Shriek and Ooze are such rad colors. I really, really love Mausoleum, which is a sparkly green blue. And you know me. I love these two sparkly, like this has such like a slight green tinge to it that I love. This is absolutely staying, and the packaging is to die for. Only seconded to these two. So these are from the Melt Beetlejuice collection, and these have a very special place in my heart because it's not often that I buy entire collections from a brand, like every single piece that they offer. And this was a big one, and it was probably the most expensive collection I have purchased to date. So we do have the recently deceased palette. This one is all like grungy greens and purples. I love it. I love it so much. I love the packaging. I love the imprints. I love the colors. Now, I do feel like some colors, like I feel these two are very similar. I feel these two are very similar. And like they could have not put all of them in the same palette, but I still love it. And this one is absolutely getting saved. And this palette was one of the palettes that I don't know if I've had a palette surprise me as much as this one. I bought this one so I could have the whole set. That was basically the reason. It didn't really appeal to me almost at all, but I was like, oh, I'm going to try it on camera. And if you go back and look at that video, I swooned over this palette. I love the look I came up with, and I've used it so much. I don't know if you can tell how much of a dent there is in some of these colors. I've used this one more than this one, and I thought this was going to be like the record breaker of all of them. No, it was this one. It was the Waiting Room palette. This ranked very high in my yearly review that year of palettes that I had tried. I just love it. Now, again, I do feel like some of the shades, I feel like these are quite similar. I do feel these are quite similar. Even these are like similar-ish, but I still absolutely love it. This is staying. And then the Amor y Mariposas collection. This palette, again, is one of those that I feel like really didn't get the love it deserved. And I think it's because it went against Melt's standard 10-pan palette. I think it threw people off. Now, if you know me, you know I don't usually love big palettes like this. I don't like palettes with 75 colors in them, but this one, the color story was just so beautiful to me. It spoke of nature. It spoke of butterflies. It just spoke of like earth. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it spoke of earth to me, and I still really love it. And I actually kind of appreciate, I think these are about the size of like a US nickel. And I appreciate that because I'm not going to go through an entire palette. Like I might go through tequila. Tequila is one of the best golds I've ever tried. But yeah, guess what, guys? My whole melt collection is staying. All right, so here's my entire Kaleidos makeup collection. And I feel like I need to be honest with myself here, but it's going to be very, very difficult. But let's start with these 6 over here. So these are all a bunch of their quads. And I can tell you right now that I'm going to be keeping all of them. Oh my gosh, wait, the only one I'm questioning is this one. Okay, so this is, let me double check. This is the Cold Brew quad. And I have not used this much, which I feel like is obvious, but no, it's so beautiful. Look how beautiful those colors. Nope. Guess what? I'm keeping them. This is the one that I definitely preferred. This is Black Jasmine in that collection, but I'm keeping all of these. I love the quality of these. And all of these to me are each cohesive looks, which makes this a very easy decision for me, to be honest. So I'm going to be keeping all 6 of these Kaleidos quads. These are the 3 that I'm having issues with. So these were their Futurism collection, okay? And the 3 that we have Futurism 7, Sashimi City, excuse me. We have Futurism 3, Astro Pink. Find that interesting that this one is called pink and not this one, but so it goes. And then we have Futurism 5, which is Electro Turquoise. I don't know if you can tell, I've never used any of these. When these were being discontinued, they asked if they could send me some, and I said, sure. I said, you know what, I would love to receive that. So I received them and I haven't used them, but they're so beautiful. You know what? Oh God. Okay. Okay, let's do this. I'm definitely going to get rid of this one. This one is beautiful, but I know I have neutrals like this in enough colors that I absolutely love. I'm going to let this go to a friend. This is difficult for me. This again is Sashimi City. Oh gosh, look at that. Look at that sparkle. But to be honest, if I haven't used it, I want this to be passed on to somebody else. These 2 are very difficult for me. Now this one, which is pink, which one is called pink something, right? Astro Pink. This one I wouldn't normally keep. However, these 2 shades, I don't have anything like this in my collection. Okay, this is a black with a sparkle blue in it, which is beautiful and I want it. And same thing with this. This is a blue shifting purpley turquoise that goes very deep. And even this, like I no, this one is beautiful and I need to use it more. Now, I don't know if I will use this whole thing like this silver. I don't use that kind of silver often, but I do want to give this at least a shot. And is that not some of the most beautiful packaging you've ever seen? Ugh, that's staying. And I'm definitely going to keep this. I need to actually use it. Okay, this is Electro Turquoise. And I love this color story with everything that is in me. Everything that is in me screams for this color story. These are beautiful. I wish they were still available. I've heard so many amazing things about them and I've had them for so long. I need to just use them. So I'm going to let this one go. Oh, I forgot to introduce, this is my basket that I use to put everything that I'm getting rid of. I can't believe I forgot this Kaleidos palette. This is 100% staying. This is the Flower Punk palette, and it is also one of my dream color stories. I thought that I would only love the grungy half, which I do. I love the whole story together. This, again, is so earthy to me in an interesting way. It's just a unique color story, and I feel like those are so hard to come by nowadays. And it's so cool, right? So you've got these like pastel pops of like really saturated pastel colors, and then these grungy, earthy, like rooted in like grass and trees and like, oh my God. No, this is staying. And also I love this packaging, how the mirror is magnetic and it's so beautiful. This is staying. Wow, I swear I'm not on drugs here. Okay, we also have the Club Nebula palette, which I got lost in my like my pile behind me. This is absolutely staying because again, we have a unique color story. Look at these amazing colors all together. I will admit that I don't use this palette as much as some of my other palettes, but that does not diminish how amazing I think it is. I know this is a lot of people's favorite palette of all time. So if you have this palette, tell me, is this your all-time favorite palette? I love how deep and dark these colors go, and I use these pretty often. I think it's, and also Firefly. I don't know if you can tell how big of a dip I have into Firefly and even Gravity. I've used this palette a decent amount, but certain colors, like for example, Rock Hopper is not my favorite to use like kind of muted color like that. But like, what do you think of this palette? I absolutely love it. I don't love how thick it is, but that's just like, picky, but look how beautiful that is in general. This is staying, come on. So this is my entire Decay collection, which kind of also surprises me because I used to have a much bigger collection. I've decluttered a bunch over the years, but that doesn't diminish how I feel about a lot of these. So I've talked about this ad nauseum. This is the OG Naked palette. This is very old. It shouldn't be used anymore, and yet I do. I use this all the time. You can tell this is one of probably my most loved palettes that I own. I have used like, I mean, I'm at pan here. I'm definitely at pan there, and I'm really at pan there. I'm almost at pan here on Hustle. Just, I love this palette. I wish that they had kept this the same. I really do. I'm glad they changed the packaging because I hate crushed velvet, but everything else about it is perfection to me. This is staying. I have talked so much over the years about the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. Every time this is on sale, I try to let you all know because I feel like everyone needs this palette. It's so beautiful, and to this day, every time I pick it up, I feel beautiful. The colors blend very easily together. This is a very beginner-friendly palette. So if you have a friend or a family member you're looking for a gift for, I highly recommend this palette, but I will say it is almost like, not always, but it is very often on sale for 50% off. So I would highly suggest waiting for a 50% off sale and buy two of them and give them away as gifts because this is a fantastic palette. It's not going anywhere. This one is the newest addition to my collection. So this is the Naked Metal Mania. Yeah, the Naked Metal Mania palette. This one surprised the hell out of me. So Urban Decay did send this to me, okay? And when I got it, I looked at it and I went, meh, there's nothing special about this palette. And then I actually used it and I was blown away. This is a palette I encourage you. If you are in Sephora, if you are in Ulta and you see this palette, swatch it. It's going to blow your mind because this is the old school Urban Decay quality we know and love. And these metallics, these two metallics, I'm trying not to swatch everything. They are so incredibly liquid metallic looking. I can't get over how metallic these are, and nobody talks about this again. So this palette, again, I highly encourage you to try it yourself. This one is going nowhere. I love this palette. So This is one I'm not 100% sure on. So this is the Mucho Happy. This came out with the Smiley collection. It's beautiful. It is great quality, but you know what? I have this palette. I have the colors in this palette. And it's so pretty. That blue is swaying me so hard, but I'm gonna let this one go. I'm gonna let this one go to a friend because I do think it's a great palette, but I just feel like I have these colors and formulas I might like a little bit better, so I'm gonna let this one go. But this one is staying. So this was another one that really surprised me. This is the Naked Sin, the Mini Sin. And these colors are so beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, I have like dips in almost every single shade because this is such a cohesive color story for me that this is like a great travel palette or, you know, just a wedding palette. This is so beautiful. And it does go, you know, decently deep, mid-tone to deep, and very light. And the three shimmers are all great quality. Boring is one of the best shades ever. I love that it's called Boring, but it absolutely is and is not at the same time. This is staying. So I am keeping these four and getting rid of one. These are my Nomad palettes, some of them. I have another set coming here. This one is going to be tough for me, but let's go right off the bat. I am going to let this one go. So this one is the Paradise Islands palette, and I really, really, really do love it. But I don't know if you can tell, I chose to let my, I'm going to call them my nieces. They are the daughters of my friend. I chose them to, you know, let them play with this palette, and they are toddlers, and they dug into it. So I don't know if you can see, but I don't believe this palette is one that like I could sit here and I could repress every color, literally every color, but I think I'm just going to let this one go. Maybe one of my friends feels like putting a little more energy into it, but as much as I love the color story, I'm going to let that one go. This is one I'm questioning for myself because I loved this. This is the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette. Oh God, it's so, you know what? I'm gonna keep this because I don't have a lot of like neon colors, and the neons in here are so vibrant. I love Green Mountain too, though. Green Mountain is this beautiful shimmery green that you can tell I've used a lot of. Because of the vibrancy of this one, I'm gonna keep this because I don't think that I have a lot of those in my collection. So even though I don't use this often, this is one I will keep. This is Ghost Town, and you can pry that out of my cold dead hands. This is such a stunning palette. Probably one of the best, if not the best, Nomad has ever done. The cool tones are beautiful. The greens are beautiful. I love these shades over here, but even these coppers and browns are so rich and luxe. Like this feels like a luxe palette, but I love the theming. I love the imprints. I love everything about this. This is my personal favorite Nomad palette. Oh God, you can see my reflection on my 18 shins. Thank you. But let's move on to this baby. So this is unique in that it opens up with two sides. So let's look at each side. This is the Verona Love. Is it Verona Love? What is the actual name? This is the, oh my gosh, Verona, Italy palette. This is the Verona Amore Eterno palette. There are more, oh my gosh, guys, it's the Verona palette. Great. So we've got this pink side, and then we've got this other, you know what? This is so beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and let this one go too, because I feel like, again, this is one of those cases where I have not used this enough, and I think friends of mine would love to get some use. Oh, I love this packaging so much though, but I'm going to go ahead and let this go. So, oh my God, I'm letting 50% of these go. Go me. All right, so we have three more palettes. We've got the Okavango Safari, we've got Hudson Valley, we have Royal Europe. So I will tell you right now, the Okavango Safari is staying. This is what I want to see in a neutral palette. Yes, I want to see browns, but I also want to see those earthy greens. I want to see the golds of nature. This color is such a cool silver when it's mixed together. I just love this like grungy kind of like, I don't know, green, brown, yellow. Amazing. This is one of my top 3 of all time Nomad palettes. I love this one. This is staying for sure. This is also 100% staying. Royal Europe, again, highly underrated. Look at the shift. Look at the shift in these colors. You see how like green this one looks right now? And then you switch to a different tone. Let me see if I can maybe show you in a mirror. Like, let me see. Yeah, look at the shiftiness in the color, especially this bottom middle. See how vibrant purple it is, but it's also blue. And then this has got that pink and that gold green. Like they are so shifty. This palette is so good. It is so good. Oh my God. Do I need to even say more? This is staying. This one, Hudson Valley. What do I think? I think, oh, I think I can let this go. I think this would get more love from one of my other friends or family. It really is beautiful. The quality is amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. But I just don't use it as much. Like as far as like a fall color story, there are other ones that I enjoy more. So I'm gonna let this one go and I'm keeping these two. This is my collection of Shroud Cosmetics palettes. These are all staying. I will tell you right now, these are all staying. We have Moonfall, we have Halloween, and we have It's Freaking Bats. I adore these color stories so much. So these two were in collaboration with my friend Betty Jean, who is Batty Bean. At this time, she was Butte Bean, but now she's a Batty Bean. And guys, like these color stories are so cool. Like when you have as much makeup as I do, you really need a color story to speak to you, and these spoke to me. I'm trying to find a way to like balance them so you can see them all. Let's try that, huh? But they are just so beautiful and spooky and grungy. I love them, and I can't pick a favorite between the two. I genuinely can't pick a favorite because they're so good. I love how this palette, the Halloween, is like pure Halloween goodness with like the green, the like Beetlejuice green and the oranges and everything like that. But this palette is like low key one of like the spookiest palettes I have in the best way. These are both staying, and then Moonfall is just made of these gorgeous multi-chromes and duochromes and like all of that yumminess. Like you can see some of the shift in the mirror here. Like, oh God, it's just so beautiful. And these colors are just so like vibrant and well made. Like look at Artifact. Look at that color. Look at the shiftiness. I love it. These are some of my favorite palettes in my collection. These are all staying. These are my Unearthly Cosmetics palettes, and I will let you know these are also all staying, mainly because these two, I have only just recently gotten them and I really need time to play with them. Now, I will say, okay, let's go from right to left. Don't Be Jelly. This is the first palette I got for them, and I got this when I was in Charleston. This is what made me fall absolutely in love with this brand. It is such a gorgeous color story, and these colors are so stunning. I wish I could show you truly. Let's do a swatch. This is my favorite color. Okay, this is Hydrospace. Let's hold on a minute. Let me really show you what this can do. It is so beautifully shifty from green to blue to pink to gold. This is one of the most beautiful colors I even have in my collection. It's such a beautiful palette. It's such a gorgeous color story. This really does make me think of sea life, and I love it. This is, I mean, it's absolutely staying. Sorceress Smoke shocked the hell out of me because I thought this was going to be a boring neutral palette. No, this is grunge neutrals at its finest, okay? But grunge neutrals with a twist too, because you've got shades like Nightshade that definitely have that shiftiness to them again. And it's so beautiful. I love the look I created with this on camera, but I've been using this palette a lot, like a lot more than I thought I would. Okay, one more, Transfix. They are just such pretty shifty colors. I love this. Fall Magic. This is the only one. I love this palette. I love this color story, and I love the look I created with it, but I want to use this a few more times to see. It has nothing to do with quality. The quality is perfect. But to see if this is a color story I'll really get use out of in my collection, or if I feel like this could go to somebody else, because if I'm being honest with myself, pinks like this and purple, like that kind of color story, and even this, not completely my vibe. I really gravitate towards these grungier tones. I love this like leaves color, and these colors are beautiful, but I just want to make sure that palettes in my collection are going to get love. So this is the only one that I'm sort of a little bit on the fence with, but again, nothing to do with the quality. So if this color story is one that appeals to you, snag this now. You guys, I forgot two other Rogue palettes. So we have the Nomad Air. This is one of their newer palettes. I am keeping this, absolutely keeping this. This seems like such a sleeper. I'm very well aware, but this is a palette that I go to when I want an easy look because it's all right here. You've got your transition color, you've got your deep colors up here, you've got 3 different shimmers. This palette just makes things easy. And I understand. I know that this will look boring to a lot of you. This is such an easy palette for me. So this is staying, and this is absolutely staying. This is from Unearthly. This is the collab they did with my good friend Heather Austin. This is the Resurgence palette, and I love it. Look at that. Look at the color story. Like, I love that you have these vibrant jewel tone colors in here, like beetle jewel tones, and then the red, and then just, I love all these colors. I love how shifty they are. The quality is absolutely unearthly quality. This is absolutely staying. Look at this packaging. Look at that. Look at the packaging. No, this is going nowhere. Don't even ask. So this is my entire ColourPop collection. I'll admit, I thought that I had more than this. I'm a little surprised that I don't, but I can tell you right now, this one is gonna go. So this is the Bare Necessities palette, and it's beautiful, but here's the thing. I did receive this in PR, and I'm very thankful to have received it, but I don't love these like huge palettes and 30 colors. Like, this is great if you're a working makeup artist. Here's your bridal palette. Somebody in my like friend circle is going to love this, but I don't need it. It's good quality. I just don't need it. So that's gonna go. There's a few of these I'm struggling with. So this one, this is the Kathleen Light So Jaded palette. Guys, I'm finally going to let it go. I'm finally going to let it go. This has survived so many declutters at this point because I love the colors, but I don't like big palettes like this. And I don't know. I don't pick it up. I really don't. And the reasons that I was keeping this, I'll be honest, a lot of it was for these 2 colors, because once I gave up my Muerte palette, I didn't have a dark blue, and guess what? I have it back. And I prefer that quality. So, wow. This is like the end of an era if I'm letting that go. That's kind of incredible for me. So this is one that's absolutely staying. This is the Raw Beauty Kristi at Forest Sight palette. This is my favorite palette ColourPop has ever done. Okay, the quality is bar none the best quality they've ever come out with, ever. And I love this color story. This is going to stay 100%. As is this. Like, I feel like this is kind of another sleeper hit. This is the Wild Child palette, if I can get it to focus. There we go. So this, again, is neutrals but elevated, because I feel like this is dark and sexy, especially like that pressed glitter in the center, but it doesn't act so much like a pressed glitter. Good Lord. I'm sorry if you can hear my cats playing. They are chasing each other and wrestling. But I really love this one. I've taken this on a couple trips with me now as my only neutral palette, and I've been very happy with that decision. So that's gonna stay. Oh, the Child palette. What do I do with the Child palette? So I'm gonna let this go. That's what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna let it go. It's a good quality palette. It is, but I don't pick it up enough, and I think somebody can get better use. So wow. I'm keeping 2. getting rid of 3. Guys, already this declutter is, I'm getting rid of way more than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to get rid of like nothing, or maybe like 1 palette, 2 palettes. I've gotten rid of a bunch so far, and we're still going. You guys, this is my Glam Light collection, and these are all going to stay, right? Right? Wait a minute, because the thing is, okay, wait, let's start here. Hold on a minute. Wait. Do I have everything that I need from this palette in these two? No, I don't, because you know what? I don't have Dreams, and Dreams is one of my favorite colors in the Michaela palette. Now, I don't like big palettes. I don't, but I am going to keep this one because I do feel like I've gotten some great looks off this, and I do love the shiftiness. I think the quality is beautiful, and I'm keeping these two also. So these are from the Scooby-Doo collection, and I love this. This quality is some of the better quality for an affordable brand that I've ever tried. They're both so beautiful. I'm keeping them. Like these two, they're not similar. No, this is lime green. This is more of a mossy green. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. I'm going to keep all these, but it is interesting how similar. Like, how about, let me check these two colors just because I'm very curious. Very, very, very similar. Wow, okay. That was a color too that I was like super interested in. Huh, and like, let's see like this blue here and this blue here. They're similar-ish. Wow. Okay. I mean, I probably could get rid of this and just keep these two because I like the quality better. But I'm going to keep all 3 though because I really do enjoy these. They make me happy. And you know what? Isn't that what makeup's all about? So we have Natasha Denona. I currently have 5 palettes from Natasha Denona. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one because there's one that I am really, really debating. Okay, so I am absolutely keeping this. This is my very first Natasha Denona palette. This is the Sunset palette. Now this was gone from the site, but recently popped back up on the Natasha Denona website during Black Friday for like 40% off. I still love this palette. You can probably tell I've gotten a lot of use out of this palette. A lot of colors have dips in them. I think the quality is brilliant. I love this color story. It is so fiery. This is one of the very first palettes I really, really, really fell in love with. I paid full price for it, and I am keeping it for sure. Now the gold palette is very much discontinued, so I do apologize for showing you this gorgeousness on camera when it's not one that you can get easily. But this is one that I paid full price for as well. I don't know why I'm saying that. I paid full price for all of my Natasha Denona palettes. And I love this one. I love it. I don't use it as much as I need to. It makes me so happy. This palette took me so long to buy. I sat on the fence for so long about it. And I don't know why, because it's beautiful. And I only got it once they announced it was being discontinued. And look how beautiful that packaging is. This is staying. The bronze palette, God, I have talked so much about this palette. This, again, is one of those like neutrals, but elevated for me. The metallics are so metallic and shimmery and beautiful. I love it. This might be one of my favorite palettes of all time. This might be up there. This is probably in the top 10 because of how much I use it and how much I just think it's stunning. The dips and the colors that I have dips in, whoo, they are like deep. And this color Silk is one of my favorite metallics ever. Like, that is staying. This is the mini nude, correct? I always get this confused whether it's mini nude or mini glam. This is mini nude. This is 100% staying. I have used this palette on vacations more than any other palette, period, because this creates a whole look for me. You can see probably how much of a dip there is in this color. I'm about to hit pan. I'm about to hit pan here and here. I love this palette. I probably use this the most of any palette in my collection. Can I say that? I think that's true. No, this is absolutely staying. I love it. Oh, the Yucca palette. So this palette I waffled back and forth on for so long. I was like, do I need it? Do I need it? Do I want it? Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I bought it, and guys, I've used it a bunch of times and the quality is brilliant. It's so good, but I think I've decided to let this one go. And that's very difficult for me. This is one that, and several of these, by the way, I'm going to be selling rather than just giving away to friends and family. This is one I'm definitely going to be selling because this is quite an expensive palette. And there's a lot that I haven't used yet in here. Like I've swatched everything, but I haven't used this as much as it deserves. I haven't even taken the plastic off the mirror. I'm going to let this one go. And I love this packaging so much. So like, it's almost like I want to put it away before I think about it too much, but this is going to go. I can't believe I'm letting go of a Natasha Denona. So I only have 3 palettes by Odin's Eye, and these are all collaborations with my friends Angie and Jelka Nyqvist. I don't know why I always feel the need to say Angie and Jelka Nyqvist, but here we are. I am keeping all 3 of these. I love all 3 of these palettes. If you were to ask me to choose my favorite, I'm going to guess that it's probably the original Hella palette. I love this, like this triangle right here is a grunge dream. Like it is earthy, it is beautiful. It is, deep and dark down here. So you've got the underworld, but then you've got the forest. Like it is so beautiful. But when you look at all 3 of them, don't they make your heart pitter patter, or is that just me? I love Trick or Treat. That is, a good Halloween and like Halloween theme to me. Whereas Little Ghost to me is more candy and just brightness and life. And I love all 3. I absolutely love all 3. These are all 100% staying. I do use all of these. These are amazing. They're staying. So this is going to be where we're going to start getting into some more miscellaneous palettes that I don't have, 50 things from each brand. Let's start with Sigma. So I only have 2 palettes by Sigma. We have Beauty and the Beast and we have Mini Ambiance. I am keeping both of these. Beauty and the Beast has really, really, really surprised me as far as a neutral palette. The quality is really, really good, but I love these pops that are kind of unexpected, like this dark navy blue and this really, really deep, vibrant, like it sounds weird to call a brown vibrant, but it is. It's like this really reddish mahogany color. Stunning. The shimmers, all perfect. Little Town is such a cool shimmer. Like, yeah, this is staying, like, look at that even. Just the little qualitative detail, like, this is absolutely staying. The Mini Ambiance was another one that kind of just surprised me. This is one that I've really been enjoying playing with. It is so lightweight, which I also find nice, and it folds down very, very thin. These mini palettes are great because instead of like, just 1 or 2 colors, you get 7 here, and they create a cohesive color story. Really love this one. That's all I have from Sigma. This is all I have from Adept. This is the collab with Heather Austin. Do you guys see how well loved this palette is? Because I adore this palette. They are so shifty, like the colors are so incredibly shifty. Let's see, can I capture it even though it's really, really messy? I don't know if I can capture how shifty because I've made a disgusting mess of this palette, but I personally love seeing the palettes that are really well used because people love it. So this palette is so stunning. Look at it. Look at the shifty colors. Oh God, no, this is staying. This is absolutely, absolutely staying. It is so unique to my collection. And forgive me if it's not zooming in as well. But anyway, yes. So this is the only palette that I have from Gourmand Girls, and this is really new to my collection. This is the Haunted palette. I keep getting confused whether this was Haunted or Spooked. I love it. I sat on this for so long, and I'm so glad I finally purchased it because this color story speaks to my very soul. I love it, and you wouldn't think that it would because there's several pinks in there, but next to these grungy tones, and I keep saying grungy, I'm aware, I love it. This reminds me in a way of like flower punk, how you have these earthy tones grounded by some bright pops of like pink and purple. Absolutely adore it. This is staying for sure. I have two palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica. This is the Warlock palette, and this surprised me because I was not prepared. You know what? Let's talk about both of these at the same time because they're both staying. We have Warlock, and Lost Library. Now, Lost Library, you can buy these as singles. These are the most shifty metallics, duochromes, multi-chromes I've ever tried in my life. I'm trying to show you kind of the shift, and it's insane. They go from vibrant pinks and greens to golds. These are so beautiful and so changing, like that. I mean, don't even talk to me. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. Lost Library is staying. Warlock is also staying because I love this color story. I love it. I love it. I think it's so cool and unique, right? I think it's so unique. This is absolutely staying. This is the one I'm curious about, though. This was yet another palette I sat on, and it eventually was given to me by a friend. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes Are Forever. The quality is so beautiful, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go because I think it'll get more love somewhere else. The quality is so good, though. Damn it, right? Do I want to keep it? Because to be honest, no, I'm not going to, right? Right? Because here's the thing. I'm not going to use this color ever, right? I'm not going to use this color ever. I love this center 6 colors so much, though. You know what? Maybe I'll put it in a use it or lose it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in a use it or lose it because I'm still undecided on that one. But I've gone back and forth on this one so many times. It probably should go, but for now it's staying. All right, we are getting down towards the end, and I can see some we're getting rid of. So I'm keeping this. This is my #1 rainbow palette. Okay, this is my #1 rainbow. This is the Sugar Pill Pro palette. It looks different now than it does, or it looks different then, excuse me, than it does now. But I love this. I love this palette. This is great quality. These are all mattes. The pan size is huge. You can tell. Love Plus. Fun fact, I use this on my roots when they're really bad and I don't have time to dye them. Okay, so this is staying. This is such old packaging. I will tell you, let's see. Okay, this is absolutely staying. So this is a palette, again, that I decluttered and regretted it. So it came back in my life and it's not going anywhere. I even have the protective packaging on it still. This is Life's a Draft. This is the package, or the one that Ofra did with Samantha March, and I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so beautiful. It's such a good purple color story, a smoky purple moment. And I love this highlighter. I love this bronzer. Doesn't agree with me as much, but I love the highlighter. And I love this like shimmery blush topper. This is staying for sure. Don't know where we stopped here, but all of my Kaja is going to stay. We have Smolder Season, which has 2 shimmers and 1 matte. I love this. And then we've got Velvet Dream, which is these are very difficult to open. I would imagine if you had motor issues or fine motor skill issues, that this would be a problem, but these are 3 mattes. That is staying. And we also have the Viva Shine Trio. So I do not love this one. I don't know if it's easy to tell, but it's a very chunky glitter. I've used it and it's okay, but I don't love it. But these two are very smooth metallics. We've got a much lighter champagne color and a deeper gold. You know what? I think I can let this one go, actually. Now that I'm talking about it, I think I can let that go. I like it, but it can go. Yeah. And I'm also going to let this one go. So this is my Pro palette from Ofra, and I love it. And it's amazing quality, but I have all of these elsewhere. So I have, this one is not Star Island. What's it called? All of the Lights. I have a full palette of this. And the rest of these I just don't use enough. Wow, it's really beautiful. This is also a heavy palette, like heavy weight. So that's going to go. I will say this is not going anywhere. This is by Give Me Glow Cosmetics. This is their Juicy Olive. And whoop, just making sure I'm still recording voice. This is the Juicy Olive palette. You know I love grungy greens the best. This is absolutely staying. And this, oh my gosh, you know what? I got to find a way to save this one color. This is MAC colors. These are all my old MAC colors, you guys. And I haven't used MAC in a very long time. So here's the thing. This is an empty palette. I'm going to find a way to keep this color out because this color from JD Glow is stunning. Look at the shift on it. And it's so metallic. But the rest of this can all go. I think somebody will eventually get use out of this. These are great quality, and I keep holding on to this for the single purpose of like pulling out a few shadows. I haven't pulled out this palette in years, actual years this can go. Oh my gosh, look at me. Oh, heavy. And guys, here we are. This is the last of it. This is the last of my palettes. Let's talk about this one. On camera, I absolutely hated this. I've literally only been hanging on to it just so I can declutter it in this video, okay? This is the Lottie London Love Sucks palette. This palette sucks. It really, really does. I gave this to my nieces to play with as play makeup, and they didn't like it, if that tells you something. This is absolutely going away. One of the worst palettes I've ever tried, actually. Okay, so this palette, I've talked about this in the past. I'm not using this, but I am keeping this for nostalgic purposes. This is the Kat Von D Divine palette. I am from Baltimore. I love Divine, love, love, love Divine, love John Waters so much. So this palette just has a lot of like nostalgic value for me. The colors are Baltimore Waters for John Waters, Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, Hairspray. I adore this palette. Again, I don't even use it, but I am keeping it for sentimental purposes and that packaging. Okay. This palette, I've also talked about this kind of recently as far as discontinued palettes. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Foil Finger Paints. And these are so incredibly metallic. You know what? Let's do a little touch. These are very smooth and very, very creamy, but like incredibly wet looking foil finger paints. Like I was shocked with this. They are so lovely. This, I can't believe it. I wish I could link you guys to this palette, but even when I look for it on like resale sites, it is nowhere to be found, which always shocks the heck out of me. It is now staining the heck out of my fingers, but we're so close to being done. The e.l.f. Hot Jalapeno Mini Bite-Size Palette. I love this little guy so much. He is such a great quality palette for such a low price, like $3, and the quality is so good. And to me, this is a cohesive color story because this has a tinge of green in it, and then you go deep into the greens. I love this. I think I'm going to actually let this one go. I keep letting this one, you know, go through a bunch of declutters, but I think this one is going to go. This is my It's Likely Makeup Ugly palette. And these are just, it's kind of just a rainbow palette, but I do have these colors in formulas I like better, or in palettes that I like the whole color story better, because when it comes to a rainbow palette, I'm happy having just like my sugar pill if I need to dip into it. This can go though. This is beautiful. I enjoy it, but it can go. And this one I'm still playing with. So this is by Wicked Widow Cosmetics. This is Graveyard Smash. I've had a lot of fun with this. I only recently got this, I think in October, but I've been having a lot of fun playing with it. It's such a kind of muted color story, but a really, really cool one. So this is staying, but I am going to let 2 of these go. You guys, this is going to sound so overly dramatic. This is one of the most physically demanding videos I film all year, okay? Because it's hauling all of my palettes to a spot where I can film, which doesn't, I know none of this sounds like a big deal, but just like hear me out. Hauling them all out, setting up the camera and the lighting and the sound and everything like that, and spreading them out, but in all, like from the moment the camera turns on till the moment like I'm done and I'm sitting back over here, that was like 2.5 hours of standing on my feet on a hardwood floor, and like, I'm real tired. I'm really tired. But at the end of the day, I was not expecting to declutter 14 palettes today. I am not lying to you. I genuinely thought I was going to get rid of like one. I thought it was going to be this like Lottie London piece of crap, and that might be the only thing I got rid of. I'm kind of proud of myself. Now, again, like whether I get rid of one or whether I get rid of 50, it kind of doesn't matter, right? This is my collection, and you know, I do videos here on YouTube, so I like having a collection for that. But at the same time, it kind of doesn't matter. But I'm still proud of myself because it means I'm going to love what's in my collection that much more. So I'm really happy and excited. So some of these, very few of these actually, are going to go up on my Mercari page, which is always linked down below. Most of these are just going to friends and family. Actually, I think only 2 of these are going on my Mercari page, and the rest of these are going up to friends and family. But still, feel free to check it out there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, as I said before, all of these are going to be lumped into one big, long declutter video that you can watch at your leisure as soon as this whole series is done. But keep watching. We have a few more to go. We have lip products. We have my individual eyeshadows and eye pencils and my brow products and my mascaras. And just, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. And also, please let me know in the comments down below, would you like to see a skincare declutter? I'm thinking of doing that. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but if it's going to be a full declutter, like a full collection declutter, that would include skincare and even hair care too, right? I don't have a whole lot of hair care, but still, I'm thinking about it. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your support over the last like month or so, because it's been really cool to see. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help out my channel. You all can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are all GlitterFallout. And as always, and forever, you are super freaking rock stars. I love you so much with my whole heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to take a nap now. I just want to go to sleep. Can I please just, can I please go to sleep?